through the continuity of life, I started with drawing, just the natural volition to want to draw things, to visualize my world. And then when I found myself into the professional lane of design and learned what visualization could do in terms of the stories it can project of what that future possibility is, I became just enthralled and enamored. I fell in love with the ability to just visualize. And I've seen some magical moments when it can happen. Like, I could be in the most executive of arenas, and if there's a whiteboard over at the C-suite or whatever, in the boardroom, when the alpha dogs are in conversation around the table, I'm the introvert, right? But still, I've learned to master my voice in those settings. And there's been plenty of magical moments like that where the power of visualization has moved rooms, has moved attention, has moved mindsets to a better place.
Double shoulder. You are undeniable. What's your superpower? You are undefeatable.
I got goosebumps.
You are the less than 1%. Even when it doubts you can't.
Your path is your path. Stay committed, stay focused, be disagreeable, optimistic, and relentless.
You are the less than 1%.
All of my podcasts just start. Welcome to Less Than 1%. In the studio today, we have. I'm excited that we have somebody from a totally different area, genre, discipline, and I'm not going to steal any thunder. And I'll let you know that I convinced him to come to the studio only because, I have a family, personal relationship. Otherwise, he's too big to even be here. But I'd like to welcome Kevin Bethune. He is the author of my favorite book, Nonlinear, and I want you to go check it out. We'll talk about it more as we go on today, but if you get a chance, go check it out. But before we start, you have lots of accolades.
Oh, bless you.
And I'm excited because it's in an area that I wouldn't say it's foreign to me necessarily, but it is something that you don't think about until it's amazing or not present. You know what I'm saying?
Or broken.
Or not the right way, or not looking the way it's supposed to look. But before that, I feel like your number one accomplishment is Michael Jordan's. So tell us about that. I didn't want to wait till the end because Jordan's like, is he going to bring Jordans with him? I was like, should we get some? Can we get him to sign them? But tell me about that. That was kind of it doesn't fit in a way.
It didn't fit my story the way it was playing out. But first of all, thank you for having me, Moo. Appreciate it. It's an honor and a blessing to be here. So to that story, I got to Nike mid-career. And that's the first time that I encountered professional design.
Yeah.
And I just started asking questions of like, what is that? What's going on over there? Who are these people? What are they doing? How do they approach this work? And mind you, I've been drawing for hobby my whole life. And it wasn't until I got into that environment and I started just showing meekishly at first my sketches outside of work to some newfound creative friends. And a gentleman by the name of Dwayne Edwards, who's now the president of Pensacola Lewis College in Detroit. But at the time, he was the footwear design director of the Jordan brand. And he saw some of my sketches, and he was like, you have some raw skill? He's like, I got too many briefs, not enough designers. Why don't you meet me in the morning, and we'll commiserate on a project and see how you do with it. You have to be mindful to your day job, but come see me in the morning, work on my stuff at night. And we had a relationship like that for well over a year and got a couple models out. So my first design credits were with the brand Jordan team, thanks to Dwayne giving me that opportunity.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So wait a second. So let me get this right. So at the time, you're working where?
So I came into Nike post MBA. I had an engineering background prior.
Yeah.
So I come into Nike as a business planner.
Yeah.
And I was mindful to that, just to lock in the learnings of the business school environment and the publicly traded reality that was Nike.
Right.
But at the same time, Nike's campus, if you've ever been there in Beaverton, Oregon, it's very collegial. So it's nothing to ask someone to have coffee, just to learn about what they do. And I started seeing some of those creatives, and it was just very curious because my heartstrings were to like the drawing and stuff that I was doing outside of work, but I couldn't process that it could become part of my formal path. and meeting folks like Dwayne, it's like, oh, he actually showed me an open door, and that was worth, going through.
Okay, so this is a lot. The right brain, left brain stuff is going crazy in my head, right? So you're an engineer.
Mm-hmm. I worked in the nuclear power generation industry first,
and then you're in your side time,
just drawing.
You're just drawing, right? And this is an interesting combination. So, I mean, I don't draw, but I write.
Okay.
And so, writing for me is not necessarily mathematical, but obviously going into medicine, that's scientific mathematical. But it's interesting. Indeed. I think that there's something to be said for, Jordan, like there's like these dual brain people that are not just so linear, but they're also creatives. And I think the idea of creative, I write about it in Less Than 1%. The idea of a creative is it's a certain unique set of people. And the way you see and I see and others see when you're a creative is the world is just weird. It's just weird.
Indeed. But
I heard that you said this. You said this on, I biopsied you on YouTube and all that stuff. You're an introvert.
Yeah, very much.
And I'm an introvert.
Okay.
But we're both on a podcast. So this is going to be I'm sorry, I want you to watch this, but you got two introverts. So you're an introvert, but you're going on this campus and you're willing and ready to go and talk to whoever, even though you're an introvert. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm thankful that along my journey, even as far back as engineering, where maybe it was safer to be that introvert because I was like immersed in the hard science of things. But you figure out like your career, you have to sort of take some ownership. And if you're curious about something, you have to, conjure up the gumption to go ask that question of someone that has something maybe to offer you in terms of wisdom or learnings that you could sort of follow through on. And so by the time I got to the Nike environment and being as collegial and informal as the vibe of the campus was, it was a low barrier to at least have a coffee with someone. And then the one coffee would turn into recommendations to go talk to two more people, and so the chain would continue. But then Dwayne was like the cataclysmic moment where he was just like, hey, I have an opportunity for you. So this is beyond coffee. Like, can you actually roll up your sleeves and do something?
Was that scary for you? I mean,
yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Like from a career move that.
Yeah, it was like, on one hand, it's like, how is the organization going to perceive me as a business planner at the time, leaning into, a creative team and spending time in a place that was different from my formal day job.
Yeah.
How would that look? And, and so and Jordan Brand nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when Dwayne started working with me, I started sketching against some of his assignments that he was giving me daily. To go into the team and arrive at the Jordan team meeting and slide my sketches on the table.
Wow.
I was sweating bullets.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just reading your story and listening to you, and do you have an uncharacteristic, a nonlinear progression to success? And you talk about that. You talk about that in your first book, where you sort of say, hey, if I can do it, sort of anybody can do it. Yeah. But here's how you gotta, this is how you have to do it if you want to do it this way. Do you think? So how did that transition to writing? Like, so you sort of, I'm jumping around here a little bit.
Fine. That's fine.
But how do you transition to like, okay, I have this cool opportunity. I'm a little introverted. I get, this. So Jordan, I'm thinking this is his Bob McKillop. I read in the book about Steph Curry's, college coach.
Yes.
Who lets him take wild and crazy shots, and if you'll work on them. And so this is somebody who's like believes in you even before you believe in yourself. But how do you then say, okay, I have an opportunity, but now I'm going to bring this to the world? Because that's a pretty humbling and scary prospect too.
Yeah, I never viewed myself a writer, but it's funny when you go through engineering, and I imagine science as well, medicine as well, there's the nitty gritty of problem solving your way through that, but you still have to document it to explain it to someone else. And so it weirdly enough, engineering actually built up some muscles for writing, because I had to constantly articulate the rhyme and reason around any analysis I was presenting as an engineer. But fast forward, after I found my way into design eventually, first at Nike, then going back to grad school for design, fast forward, I found myself involved in some multidisciplinary runways with the charter of unlocking innovation for a number of industry sectors, from healthcare to wellness to athletics to consumer tech. And after many cycles, many years of standing up creative teams in spaces that hadn't initially understood the power of creative problem solving, and then realizing that we could actually hire designers into these multidisciplinary teams, as long as they had the courage to function alongside the best of the business person, alongside the best of the scientist or engineer, there was something to codify from those cycles of practice, of failing forward, of the trials and tribulations of trying to get multidisciplinary chemistry to actually work, and then seeing the fruits of that over time. It was like, there's something to codify here. There's something to write down.
Yeah.
And I had tinkered with the idea of a book for a couple years prior to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the actual week of isolation that I inked my first book contract.
Yeah.
And so
that's amazing.
That's how it kind of started.
Yeah. No, it's writing is revealing in ways that are because once that pen, it's not active. It's not an active thing. You can't delete it. You can't take it down. You can't take it off your page.
Mm-hmm.
Once you ink it, it's there. And if you change your mind, it might be too late.
Yeah, that's right.
Jumping back to this nuclear plant, what? I mean, how does?
Yeah, life comes at you fast.
Yeah. So how did that? So you ended up designing? Is that right?
So no, when I went through undergrad, I studied mechanical engineering because at the time, while I didn't understand what design was, even innovation, I could at least connect drawing to my love for math and science. So engineering made more pragmatic sense when it came time to imagine going to college and all that. And I do have to say that our history goes back when I met you, when you and my older brother Travis were roommates. It did plant a seed in me. To see like two black males rooming together in a college environment, like that image is still cemented in my mind, because then I could then imagine myself going to undergrad.
Yeah.
So just a fun anecdote to bring back. But
well, I'm glad because my college days weren't the best, so I'm glad that I inspired you to do better than I did.
No, it's all good. So I went to undergrad, studied mechanical engineering, and of all the industries that were coming to campus to recruit, there was one industry in particular that had a different, message or pitch, and it was the nuclear power industry. They hadn't hired young talent for the 10 to 15 years prior to me coming out of school. So compared to some other sector that would say like, hey, come in as a new talent, we'll put you on a factory floor somewhere, you'll learn our business for 8 to 10 years before we let you touch new product development. That wasn't necessarily the most exciting message to hear from a company recruiting you.
Right.
And while I respected the need to understand someone's business in a given sector, that's fine. But the time to when you could actually practice your engineering craft that you just learned in the classroom, to wait that long was a little daunting.
Yeah.
But the nuclear industry was like, hey, we're here. We haven't hired young talent. We have an imperative. We have a knowledge crisis, because the folks that design these nuclear plants all around the world, these folks that design them in the first place are on the verge of retirement. And if we don't fill the pipeline of talent, we're going to have this huge, massive brain drain.
Yeah.
And so it was a wide open door. Like, we need you to come in. We need you to get mentored by our senior engineers early and fast and often. And so I came into that industry, wide open door, and I got cycles that were such an acceleration compared to what my peers were experiencing in other industries.
It's sort of interesting going into spaces where there's a gap.
Huge gap.
Gives you an opportunity to accelerate in ways that you wouldn't normally, and just where everybody's going. It's almost like I talk about in less than 1%, right? Like, you kind of go to where people aren't going is probably where you need to go,
Yeah.
What is, so for the not so smart, and maybe the few people that don't know that are watching this, design. What's your definition of design? Because I hear a lot of different things in there. People think, okay, I'm an architect, you're an engineer. Like, what is the term design? What does that mean to you?
For me, design creates the future. Design is creative problem solving to imagine a future state and ideally one that improves our condition than what we're sort of experiencing today. It's a vehicle to kind of get to a future that's better, hopefully.
That's not in Webster's. That's a very unique way to look at design. Are you a disruptor I was talking about disruptors. Are you a disruptor in design? Do people typically think the way you think about design?
Unfortunately, the field of design, or how the design field is perceived, I should say, is riddled with unfortunate precedent. Unfortunately, when you mention design in most circles, people think of, it's the aesthetic layer. After all the big thinking is done, it's the final step to make it look good.
Yeah.
Even the old adage of put lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
And I guess in terms of I would never call myself maybe a disruptor when asked, but the work that I've been a part of, the teams that I've had the privilege of serving, we've had the ability to sort of disrupt that precedent and showcase design as a meaningful problem-solving vehicle at the most highfalutin strategy tables, and then actually go execute and actually build the thing that we conceived of at that table and make sure it had an impact in the market.
So listen, I don't want to be mean, but you can't come on here and say you're not a disruptor and then write a book called Nonlinear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a disruptor.
Okay.
That's why you're here.
Accepted. Thank you.
That's why you're here. Because, the idea of boxes, the idea of way the things always are, at disruptors, it just eats at you. Like, I see things all the time.
Yeah.
You're
right.
We talked earlier before we started, why does the healthcare CEO have a podcast on disruption and finding solutions in different areas that don't necessarily relate to healthcare? And we, as I said earlier, because all problems can be solved. And sometimes you have to look outside your own area to be able to solve those problems.
True.
Very
true.
You should, as a healthcare CEO, I need to read Nonlinear to find out how to solve, overcrowding in the ED. And
Interesting.
I don't think we always make those. I think the most amazing leaders put those things together. But the ones that struggle, you can tell they're just trying to get better faster than everybody else is getting better, so they don't get worse, right? Instead of really saying, okay, stop. What solution can I find here? How can I make the world a better place? My life would be easier if I didn't. I feel like if I just could accept the world the way it was.
No, you're so right. It's, it takes courage to move with an open aperture to see like what's happening in the adjacencies and peer around corners and anticipating where needs are uncovering.
So I mean, if you're like me as far as writing, you've written a lot of things that none of us have seen, right? But what we have seen are these two books from you. What's the difference? Now, I'm gonna let you off the hook, and I will share for me.
Please.
And then while you think.
Okay.
So I have maniacal fanaticism, and I have less than 1%.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, appreciate you. And it's funny because maybe I'm a narcissist because I listen to my book a lot because I do it because I want to see the mindset I was in.
Oh,
so I have it on Audible, like, and I'll listen to it, and everybody's like, "What do you listen to?" I'm listening to my book. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so arrogant." I'm like, no. I want to see the mindset. I know where I was when I wrote that. And maniacal fanaticism is almost like a thesis. It's like a thesis. It's like a paper. It's my first delve into disruption. I feel like you can succeed in atypical ways, and I try to put that into like a formula. And then I realized that there's probably no real formula. And less than 1% is really expanding on that idea of how we misplace, greatness. Or we try to pick the winners and losers of the race before it's even run.
Yeah.
We try to put people in boxes. You should be this, you should be that. When, you might have skills in lots of different areas, and you can graduate with an engineering degree and go work at Nike, or you can, so there's, obviously in my second book, I'm more mature. So my style is different. I'm more of a storyteller than I am in my first book. So I let you off the hook by describing my difference. What about you? How does that progression go?
Yeah. I think prior to my first book, I probably was navigating large company dynamics and writing not just with my own sort of lens, but many lenses representing the company interests, the clients that we were serving, all the different stakeholder things, and trying to write coherently about those experiences. Again, with the early volition to codify like how design worked in a multidisciplinary context.
Wow.
And there was value there. Like there were cycles of learning, like what is my writing style? How do I satiate every stakeholder lens and make sure people were happy with these products? And so those articles ended up in publications and things. So those are my early cycles of writing. And I feel grateful for those moments. But when my first book contract was inked, literally the week we were going into isolation, all of us all around the world.
Yeah.
And also 2020, we're seeing a lot of the unfortunate realities, the heightened awareness, even though Black folks knew what was happening around some of the systemic issues and injustices. And I couldn't help, in those quiet moments in silence and isolation, reflect on perhaps some of the resistance that I felt.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the overt stuff that were jarring us in the news every day, but it couldn't help but connect it to the covert resistance that I remember feeling. And to your point, when we're in company settings, we can sort of spot cognitive disconnects, like what maybe the company's saying and addressing versus like what's happening outside. And that a lot of people aren't addressing those problems that are still out there.
Yeah.
And it became a question of like, why not me? Why not people like me having a hand in this space? And I'm looking at my industry of design and innovation at the time and realizing the infinitesimally small representation that Black folks have in that. So I just started unpacking, like remembering my career progression and that it wasn't easy to navigate some of these extreme multidisciplinary leaps that I've made. And the learnings have been so impactful, not just for me, but for the teams I've been a part of. And the importance of codifying these perspectives could unlock tons of innovation, tons of ways to improve the human condition if we allow ourselves to go there. But weirdly enough, just to get to the short answer to your question, the writing process ended up becoming more of a therapy.
Yeah,
And then for both books, they represent half memoir, and that I'm telling stories from a lived experience. And any perspective I can offer around creative problem solving, innovation, and the like is rooted in a lived experience.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the surprising pivot for my writing as of late.
Yeah, you got a better team than me. They had to force me to put stuff about myself in the book. Like I'm writing about Steph Curry. I'm writing about Surya Bonali, who's kind of right now with all the Winter Olympic stuff. But they had to force me to write a few chapters that took everything to write. And I can't even. There's some chapters in the book that I can't read back because it's just devastating. Mm-hmm. But I think I do think 2020 was an interesting time. I sort of went through 2020 like. What? Like, okay, this, what do you mean? Like some other people kind of know this now, but this, we talked a little bit, pre-show about, your brother and I and, St. Lawrence and we had a really rough time. I can't remember if he was a senior or if he'd already graduated, but we were attacked on campus. That I was a DJ. I tell everybody my training for being a CEO came from being a rapper till I was 16, being a DJ, and then being a short basketball player. But anyway, so we did a show, walking back to the dorm with the crates of CDs and crates of records and stuff like that, and a group of hockey players at the time. They had lost a championship or whatever. I didn't even know. And it was almost like, it was 90, what was it? 95. So it was a while back. Mm-hmm. But the way they were rolling around campus, it was like they're from the 60s, chains and hockey sticks. And I was like, guys, this is like a Thriller video or what? No, Beat It. There's a Beat It video, Beat It. With all the stuff and so there was three of us that were there and they kind of surrounded us, and So of course I'm a little angry. So I get to campus, I go to the campus security, and I tell them, hey, we're getting attacked out here, and they're like, you need to stay here. I'm like, there's 2 other people there, I can't stay. Sprinted back. Now my roommate at the time, Ed Woods, who was in the same room that Travis was my roommate in, that same what is it, like a duplex or whatever. So then I go upstairs and I get a golf club because these guys are still coming. I'm like, I gotta get some weapons.
Whoa.
I get a golf club. I come downstairs and finally the police are there. Now I'm Canadian, right? So, and I've had lots of instances with the police in Canada, but it's a very different culture by definition. There is racism. There is lots of stuff going on, but I think Canada just has a different history. Man, I was talking to this officer. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God you are here. And before I know it, I'm tackled from behind by another officer.
Oh no.
I'm in a chokehold. I'm at the point where I'm like, this is it. Like, because he's choking me out. I've never been choked out before, and I literally can't breathe.
Terrifying.
It's right now the hockey players are then yelling at the cops. It's not him. It's not him. I guess they had sobered enough now to say, listen, we were upset. Yeah. We wanted to rampage the campus, but we didn't want this to happen.
Right.
So I remember I got to the point where I was, I felt like I was blacking out.
Oh my gosh.
And then finally, he lets go because everybody, and meanwhile, the hockey players are yelling at him. Everybody's yelling at him. There's a crowd around. And I'll never forget. So then they're trying to sift through what really happened. And they gave me this yellow piece of paper after they talked to me and said, you need to show up to the police station tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, this, maybe you take my report or whatever.
Huh.
So I go to the police station the next day, and they're like, well, we're just trying to figure out, what charges to. And I'm like, charges, bro? Like, one of the officers got hit, and I'm like, listen, I'm not in it. And then I went to St. Lawrence University, and they met with the dean, and he's like, what happened? I'm like, okay, here's what happened. So, I'm thinking I'm telling on folks.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, we're only going to suspend you for 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, so I'll never forget. I actually, his desk was I'm an angry dude. And I take all the stuff from his desk and I just throw it off. And
you did a desk clearing moment?
It was like a movie.
Oh man.
But we ended up having, of course they sift through and they get different people and they sift through and they, things are kind of good. But we had this big, do you remember Higher Learning?
Yeah.
So we had this big campus event in the theater where me, Ed, were on stage telling this story. It was almost like a mea culpa for the university.
Wow.
Like, hey, we got to do something. It's a really long story, and this is about him.
No.
But the point is that 2020, everybody's going crazy about their story. I posted a tweet on like a tenth of the story. St. Lawrence University reached out to me.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but I didn't see it until 4 months later. They're like, hey, we just checked it. I'm like, man, how do you back on me now? But it is interesting that time, to my point here, was that time was just revealing of things that a lot of people were already dealing with. So it wasn't as profound for me. 2020 was not like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing thing. And it's like, okay, we're dealing with that. Like, it is what it is. You know?
It's like, I'm glad you guys woke up.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all are seeing it now. And at some level, I'm glad you acknowledged it. I do think some people tried to over acknowledge it because they didn't really know what to do. Yeah. And as a result, then you saw a backlash after that. So it's like, just treat people humanely and love them, and you don't have to swing. You just, if you do that all the time, you'll be fine. Has anybody doubted you?
Oh yeah, with every leap that I've taken, with every leap that I've taken across multidisciplinary boundaries.
Yeah.
there were, for every one yes that I got, one open door to go through, and I'm super grateful, right? That's not afforded to everyone, right? There were 99 people saying that they didn't see it. They didn't see me doing that.
Right.
Now, granted, there's a difference in terms of like some of those no's are actually productive, because it was like, oh, no, because you don't necessarily meet the bar of what's considered successful. Or you don't meet the success criteria to be able to walk through that door. And here's what you still need to maybe master. That I'll take all day. That's constructive critique.
Right. This is where I need to get better.
Yep. And I've had a few voices where, the no was maybe it felt harsh or it felt abrupt or abrasive. But as long as they gave me the evidence, I could work with that. I could understand and I start to get my reps in. But there were a lot of those no's that I was just like, it was coming from a subjective place. We don't see you
right
doing that, and I'm kind of tired of you asking. So,
do you remember their names?
Just to not direct negative smoke their way, because I get nothing from that.
Yeah,
and I'll reserve names to protect the innocent. But there were some less than innocent people in the path where it was just like, I hope you never are in a position to counsel more young people, because you're just full of venom. You're full of displaced anger.
I remember all their names. I remember every single one.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, I need help. No, because I remember their names. I even go visit them. I want them. Listen, I want them to know, right, that they were wrong. I want them to know. I want them to see. There have been people in undergrad, medical school that I don't. I'm not going to get arrested. but I just want them to know. I want them to know how they made me feel. I want them to know that maybe in situations. See, I don't worry about me. Like, even with my kids or whatever, I'm done. Like, we're at ages where aspirations are tempered a little bit, right? It's not like we're 20.
Right.
But what about the people who weren't as resilient as us? What about the people who didn't have the family structure, or the big brother, or the little sister, or whoever? Just that, what about the person that is a little bit quirky, that may have been left out, may not have had that opportunity? Mm-hmm. That's who I worry about. Because I think the resilient and the top people are always going to be the top people, right? But I worry about those people who we don't identify as the top. Again, Steph Curry was not supposed to be. He may end up being. You could make an argument of greatest of all time at some point. If there's another championship,
he'll be right there.
You got to make that claim.
Totally.
And. But that's not the kind of person that you would ever expect if you look at his, draft description or his high school, description. So, I want to ask you another question about how introverted are you? This is a test.
How introverted am I?
Okay, let's ask this. Okay, if you, it's a Friday night, just got paid, party's jumping. No, that's. All the young people don't know what I'm talking about. But Friday night, and you got a weekend. You get a weekend where it's just your time. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Are you home? Are you out? Are you interacting?
Left to my own devices, I'd probably be home, putting on a movie or something, playing music. But it was my friends that would always like, hey.
Okay,
come on.
Yeah, so you got a little introvert extrovert in you.
Yeah.
Because I think there's like agoraphobia, right? Which is like, I'm not going to leave the house. Which sometimes I am agoraphobic, but then there's also, I think, which is most people's like, I prefer to spend time with who I want to spend time with. Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to spend time in crowds or with new people, because it's sort of my time.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I gotta. I don't usually use notes, but I'm going to use notes here. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. Tell me about the race at SLU, St. Lawrence University.
The race. Okay.
In the snow. Tell me about that. Do you remember that?
I'm sorry.
You don't remember?
The race in the snow.
The 3 mile. What?
No.
You don't remember?
Okay. Was Travis in the race?
Yes. You raced in the snow.
Oh.
And he was beating you. He was.
So I think he was home on break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sorry. The context threw me. So yeah, I think he had come home from break. Might have been winter break, and I believe it was Michigan. And we decided to go for a 3 mile run. Might have been even a little bit longer than that. And we tried to be like, oh yeah, we're capable. We're cold weather people. So I don't think we dressed well enough. and we both were handling the run in the early miles of it. But then I was cold. I was really cold. My hands were hurting, and so I kind of turned it up on him.
Yeah. That's how he remembers it, and he actually knows. He said 2.75 miles in. You were like, okay, so you and I. It's funny.
Sorry.
I also heard you have a temper.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I'm an introvert temper. I have a really bad temper.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was impulse control for a long time. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of cured.
Travis had to save my life a few times when I was younger.
Okay, well, I heard about a time where he made you upset. You were really young. You were maybe 8 or 9. Do you remember this one?
There's probably several moments, but yeah.
Something about a dumbbell and.
So he's I will say Travis is an amazing big brother. But I had a long fuse. Whenever he hit that fuse, as brothers do, as they entice each other. I went for the dumbbell, and I think I went when he was sleeping to I had it over his head. So I think my mom or dad stopped that.
What do you mean? Wait. Please buy Nonlinear. Please.
And I'm not a psychopath.
That's the next book. You have the weight above his head, and he's knocked out.
Yeah, he's out.
And so mom catches you?
Someone, it might have been my mom or my dad, or it might have even been my uncle, stopped calamity from happening when they saw me going for it.
Were you going to let it go?
I don't know what I would have done, but apparently that's the story that was told when I was young. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm not going to make you upset. All right, so we have a part of this show where I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
We'll go through the question first, but then we'll try to call a family member. Hopefully you can call Travis.
Cool.
To verify or corroborate the answer to this question. So what would you say that your superpower is?
I think, and maybe this is speaking more to the professional journey, I would say my superpower is I'm a visualizer.
Whoa, that's you got to explain that.
So, I think through the continuity of life, I started with drawing, just the natural volition to want to draw things, to visualize my world. And then when I found myself into the professional lane of design and learned what visualization could do in terms of the stories it can project of what that future possibility is, I became just enthralled and enamored. I fell in love with the ability to just visualize. And I've seen some magical moments when it can happen. Like I could be in the most executive of arenas, and if there's a whiteboard over at the C-suite or whatever, in the boardroom, when the alpha dogs are in conversation around the table, I'm the introvert, right? But still, I've learned to master my voice in those settings. So sometimes I felt the gumption to get out of my chair and walk over to the whiteboard, even when the group is talking.
Yeah.
And I start visualizing the conversation. It could be an infographic, it could be a storyboard or whatever. And then I get their attention rooted in the visual I just presented. And then it allows me an open doorway to lend my voice to where I see the opportunity going. And there's been plenty of magical moments like that where the power of visualization has moved rooms, has moved attention, has moved mindsets to a better place. And
That's
I'm
amazing.
forever grateful for that superpower.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's not typical, you know, right, Jordan? I mean, of all the superpowers we've heard,
Never heard.
you know, we've never heard. I mean, it's almost like, you know, I'm trying to think of kind of the Matrix is, you know, kind of the thing where you see the numbers, but
Sure.
this is more about, you know, it's almost like you see a path to, you know, an area, a possible solution, which is very interesting to be visual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to get up and go to the board. You got to go to the board. Like, you didn't say, hey, I just kind of sit there and I can take it all in, and but I got to get to the board because I got to represent it.
Yeah.
So that others can see what I'm saying without me saying it.
Mm-hmm.
That's special. Okay, so now we get to call Travis and see if he's if he agrees.
Okay. Should I do it from my phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can do FaceTime, yeah, right?
Okay.
Do FaceTime?
Yeah, because it has the audio.
Okay. Can you see me?
I can see you.
What's up, yo?
Hey, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? There he is.
What's up?
Yeah, you can put it right there.
Yeah, he's got the
champion.
masters. Look, see, this is what St. Lawrence education will get you. You got a master's jacket. I'm just in a black hoodie. We both decided that the better brother came to the podcast. We just said we like, you know, because you know, he's a quiet, you know, he's you know, we talked about you being on campus and you being, you know, very, and we both agreed. We're like, this is the genes, you know, come together differently, and it's okay. It's okay.
You know what? You were 300% right on all of that, and you know, it's all good. You have the better man in your chair right now.
No, bro.
All right, so we called you for a reason, though. We called you for a reason.
Okay.
So on the show, what I do is I ask people a question. I ask people when they come on a question, and then they give me an answer, which could be right, or you know, sometimes they're just kind of making it up. And then we call somebody who knows them, hopefully a family member, and we ask them the question, and then we see how they line up.
Okay, I like
right.
this. I like where this is going.
Yeah. Okay, so by the way, I did. It is on public record. The two incidences that you sent to me. So,
Oh, you got both of them. Good.
I'm glad on the second one that the statute of limitations is, you know, is passed, because that was disturbing. I'm trying to help him sell books, but that may be a reason that people don't buy the book. But yeah, so the question for him is what do you believe his superpower is?
Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I limited to one choice, or do I have multiple choices
You
here?
just answer the question. Yeah, you do it. Answer it the way you see fit.
Yeah, I think he has several superpowers, but the few that I'll focus on are, I think, first and foremost, he has an incredible and resounding level of faith in terms of his just spiritual belief in his Heavenly Father and his provider, and how that has guided his path. I think that's probably the number one thing. And I would say the number two thing, and this is the close number two, it's really more like a 1A or a 1B. He is incredibly focused and determined, and I've seen this guy kind of walk through brick walls in terms of proving kind of the naysayers wrong, quietly but confidently. And that came through, I think, his incredible level of focus and determination. I mean, very few people that I know that are as focused as him.
Wow. So tell him what you told us.
Appreciate those answers, bro. I said maybe through the professional lens of like just being a visualizer, of not being afraid to walk to the whiteboard in the most executive of arenas and creating a picture that galvanizes the conversation in a different way and gives me an open door as an introvert to come in and lend my voice to whatever that opportunity is that we're talking about. But appreciate your answers as well, bro.
I like. Oh, go ahead, Travis.
No, it's all good. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I like your answers better because I feel like his answers are within the guise of maybe sort of where he is in his life now, which when you were 9, this wouldn't be applicable, and the superpower is something that it's your special thing. Like, I mean, I could ask Travis what mine is based on what he knows, but I'm nervous about what he's going to say and bring up stuff. And
oh no, you brought it up, so I get the answer.
Oh my goodness, it's supposed to be about it. No, all right. So what do you think mine is? No, you knew me. Well, you know me a long time.
I remember you told me what your first name meant, which I believe means wise leader. Am I right on that?
Yes, spiritual leader. Yeah, 100%.
So I think that is definitely one of your superpowers because you, as I remember you and I remember us on campus, we were interesting personalities on campus, but the core of it was, I think you had a very strong conviction for doing the right thing and, encouraging others around you to do the right thing and calling things out that weren't right. And we had those experiences on campus. And I think you more so than many of us, as I remember the security altercation. But I do think just that presence of having wisdom and leadership amongst your peers and amongst folks was definitely one of the things that stood out. And I think the other one is I think you've always had tremendous energy for a guy that's 5'6", 5'7" that can.
Hey, how'd I get to 5'6", bro?
What did I say? Are 5'6" or 5'7"? Did I get it right?
Keep going. Just keep going.
I'll never forget the day, Kevin. We were in the gym, and this guy, I don't know, he just took off and dunked the ball, and we were like, wow, this dude is, he's got his own superpowers of his own. But I think that just innate strength of, it's funny. It's not the what do they say? It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think, Mama, you've always been that guy where you've been, always the guy that's kind of shattered people's misperceptions or perceived limit. I mean, this is what your book is about, right? So,
yeah.
I would highlight those two things.
Oh man. Okay. You're over here giving me goosebumps and making me, and then I was also nervous. We were nervous to call you because I think we are all much, listen to us. I mean, this is a cadre of knowledge and, chiseled professionalism. But I wouldn't always like, so,
I mean... Yeah, I mean, we're going to leave that part of the tape behind. Those tapes are in the archives. My tapes are in the archives.
Oh man! One more thing, Travis, before you go. I was telling Kevin about you, and we were talking about DJing, and you were kind of. I mean, he's your big brother, but you were my big brother, and me and Willie. And I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah.
Travis sort of was the head of the radio. Oh, man, look at that. You are still doing it.
Oh, yeah.
You're still doing it.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. So Travis had, his two little younglings, which is me and Willie. And, I mean, it was actually a great, I think back to rapping and DJing and also playing basketball. We talked about that earlier. That forged me more than any degree or training. Just and to your point, Travis, like even dealing with basketball at St. Lawrence University and that stuff, and that stuff shapes you in ways that now professionally help you. So yeah, man, you were all of our big brothers, man, for real though.
It's funny. I appreciate that, Moo. I don't look at it that way. I think I was privileged to have those relationships with you and Willie back in the day. I think we had kind of a unique common ground. And Kevin, Imam was kind of underselling himself a little bit. I mean, if I remember it, your father owned like a really high-end audio visual like stereo store. So he came to campus knowing what good big sound sounded like. And, he and I think we all kind of conjured up the idea of submitting a budget to the campus student union to get funding to get a much bigger sound system. Then we took that thing mobile, and then we figured out how to get ourselves paid for doing what we like to do.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So,
I remember we set it up. I remember going to Beta, the fraternity.
yes.
And I had to mix Free Falling
sure.
with Snoop. Like
Oh, sure.
It was, like everybody talks about different genres of music, but like we would put things together that didn't even go together, which is now everybody's doing that,
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
The last thing I'll tell you on that one, Amamu, is, we did DJ these fraternities and sorority parties, Kevin, and I'll never forget, every time I crossed the Canadian border, to this day, they ask me, like, have you ever had any trouble in Canada? And I was in Toronto on business October of 2025, and I didn't remember anything. I was like, no, I had no trouble whatsoever. And the Border Patrol guy looked at me with a smirk. He said, do you remember trying to cross the border in Ogdensburg to try to DJ an illegal party in Ottawa? And I was like, what? And it clicked. I was like, okay, yes, I apologize. I was 19 years old. I did not know that you had to be a licensed DJ to DJ in Canada. To this day, every single time I cross the border, they yank me from Border Patrol to tell that story. Because I still have that on my record 32 years later.
Man, okay, 2026. I'm committing right now on the podcast. We got to spend some time in 2026.
We'll definitely spend time in 2026. Yeah. We'll figure out a way. I've got a national job. I can get to you. We'll find a way to see each other for sure.
Yeah, man. It was great seeing you. It was great seeing you.
Great to see you too, brother.
Man.
Stay well. Stay blessed.
All right.
Kevin, good to see you, brother.
You too,
all
man.
right.
Much love.
Love you. Peace.
So, just a note for the next show. Let's not call people that know me.
I'm a little disappointed out.
Yeah, I want the focus to be on that side of the table. That was great, man. That was
good.
great. That was so great.
That could work out. Yeah.
You gonna write another book?
Another book. I want to take a long break because I feel like I need to go learn a new set of things. But if there was a third book, what's been on my mind is a children's book, or maybe for adolescents, a young people's book, just to inform them about creativity and what that could mean for their life.
Yeah, I mean, I've.
How about you?
I'm writing right now.
Okay.
The working title is called Almost.
Almost.
The Other Side of Winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's listen, maniacal fanaticism, less than 1%. I always I feel like titles kind of pull you in. And it's along the same lines of everything in the world is wrong and here's why. But I really want to look at greatness that is not identified by winning. Like think about the Buffalo Bills. Like 4 straight Super Bowls. 4 straight, like not four. There are franchises who have never been to the Super Bowl. You go 4 straight, you lose 4 in a row for lots of different reasons. No one talks about them. If you won 4, Buffalo Bills would be like, oh, the greatest franchise ever. Yeah. But you lost 4 straight, and nobody talks about them. I mean, how many second place people are there out there Tons. That are truly great, but because you happen to be at a time where there was someone better than you, you're never remembered. I mean, just think of, in the NBA, like how many Charles Barkley or Patrick Ewing or Reggie Miller. Like, are you telling me that that's not greatness, but because they haven't won, right? We don't study them and we don't look at them. So that's kind of where I'm going. All those second place companies, second place athletes, second place in life. Because I think at some level we all feel like there was a championship we didn't get. And, you know.
But so much wisdom in those experiences.
So much.
And maybe
so
they were
much.
the ones that propped up the number one that got the attention.
And you mentioned failing forward. One of my I don't know if it's a pet peeve of mine, but I think the world is moving further and further away from meritocracy. I just feel that. I don't know if it's true or not. I know that you can not do anything and be famous, which us growing up, that wasn't the case. No. Usually you had to win, or you had to build a great company, or you had to be an awesome whatever, and then be famous. And so I don't know if it's bad. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but I do think the idea of our tagline in our family is hard work is undefeated. It's undefeated.
Yep. I love that.
May not come when you want it to come, but in a lack of meritocracy, hard work may be defeated. And so,
and unfortunately, we live in a time where, unfortunately with social media, we see so much imagery of people that we think have made it based on hard work and excellence, but there are other forces at play.
Other forces
presenting these stories that are just weird and warped. And
and I don't hesitate to say it, although I don't want to get canceled, but there are a lot of really weird interactions that we're seeing with different people in the industry, and especially in the entertainment and the music industry. We're seeing weird interactions where now we're finding out pools of people who had, different kinds of relationships that may or may not have contributed to their success.
Right. That's
and
right.
That should be like, obviously there's a lot of really bad things that are being talked about, said, heard, all that stuff. But that's the part that I think is really disturbing. So I think in the next book, I want to tackle the idea of meritocracy. Obviously I like sports, and I kind of use a lot of sports, but do you raise your kids to play tennis, golf, or basketball and soccer? Basketball and soccer require teammates, coaches. There's lots of different things. In tennis, you just win. You get, you can be mad all you want. Like, the greatest of all time in tennis is the biggest winner. Because it's only you.
Yep.
It's a complete meritocracy.
Yep.
But you can be Serena and Venus Williams, who I got a chance to interview Venus.
Nice.
And look at her history, right? Look at where they came from. Look at where they grew up, and they were locked out of a lot of rooms and a lot of courts, and they fought their way in. But once they got in, they just won.
Yep.
They didn't have to ask to be put on the floor. They didn't have to ask to be, they basically just beat people down. And so that's a sports version of meritocracy that, and there's probably others in business, but that's what I want to.
Cool.
So
fascinating.
Cool. Yeah. So if you give me an overview of Nonlinear, like for somebody who, hasn't read it and they're looking like, hey, I want to read this book. I'm in design or I'm not in design. I want to see what this book is about.
Yeah, I think my books are for anyone that's creatively curious, that wants to have a hand in shaping what's next. And to your point, that's everyone. It's every discipline. And I do think that the world, the complexity of the world, and how much smaller the world is thanks to digital and connectivity, we will find ourselves in more multidisciplinary situations.
Yeah.
And if there's any discipline around that multidisciplinary table that we can imagine that's the least understood, it's probably design, I hate to say, or we have these unfortunate precedents about design. And I want to just shine a light on providing people some color and context of how design can actually work well for you and with you, alongside you, to be that problem-solving partner at the very beginning of any opportunity. And Nonlinear is about really shining a light on the journey one needs to take to arrive at that new and novel innovation that will hopefully have impact with the people that you care about. And realizing that a lot of unfortunately, the design rhetoric over the last 10, 20 years, you could point to design thinking as a popular, philosophy that has proliferated across the business world. And design thinking, I think we all want to be sort of human-centered. We all want to care about meeting unmet needs where they are and deriving solutions that answer those needs. We can all nod our head at that. But unfortunately, when you look into a lot of the playbooks, they tend to be like, if you follow this 5 or 6 step process,
oh my gosh,
you get innovation. And it's like, we know the world doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's a lot more nuanced. So instead, I talk about this forest of ambiguity. That's more often the case. Anytime an organization's thinking about the next thing, and we're navigating that ambiguity. And I just wanted to shine a light on the choices that we actually have to find like what that learning could be. And when we surface one learning, it leads to another, and it leads to another. Sometimes we're moving sideways, sometimes we're moving backwards and forward, but all that's okay, because ultimately we have to kind of navigate that way in a nonlinear sense to arrive at a relevant outcome, and not just any outcome and we're just putting mud on the wall. Like, we can just interrogate our choices a bit better. And so this book is less about process. It's more about really the intuition we need to have.
I love that. I mean, I make fun of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People all the time. And I'm like, the idea that there are only 7 habits and then only these people who have these 7 habits can be highly effective. It's just ridiculous. It's a box. And I love how you are pointing people to say, hey, let's get out of that box. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay. Because I got to ask this question, because it was like, Moo, you're doing less than 1% in your healthcare CEO. So of your interpretation of where healthcare is now, you're at a table with, 8 to 10 healthcare CEOs, and they're debating all of the challenges within healthcare, not just at this moment, but, historically. What are you writing on the board? What kind of ideas come to your mind as far as trying to think them to a new place for healthcare?
I would feel compelled to go to the whiteboard again and think of edge cases to visualize, to shine a light on maybe the cognitive disconnect that's happening out there. And I remember as a head of house father of remembering my 16-year-old when he was younger, and he had to go through a couple health episodes, and how jarring the medical emergencies we had to navigate during that time were. I would visualize that and show where the friction points were, where the moments of truth.
So where do you think those are, though? Just as your, as an external view, design think. Where do you think those points are?
There was a major theme around how the lack or the degree of miscommunications were happening that bred into a larger feeling of uncertainty, anxiety, and lack of confidence in the care that was being provided in those moments.
Wow.
I remember those moments vividly, where it's like, I probably felt at my worst as a human being in terms of being so angry at what was happening around my son in those critical moments, right?
Yeah.
And like, my son didn't have to go through as much of the suffering that he had to go through if those issues didn't exist.
Wow. That's every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about that every day, the miscommunication or lack of communication, the lack of integration, which we call it integration, but it's really sort of multidisciplinary coordination that does not happen. And it's not just the government's fault or the physician's fault or the hospital's fault. It's kind of everybody. And I think we got to figure out a way to do that. That's great. It's not great that you went through that. It's great that you have identified the very problem that we, at Vituity, that we're trying to solve. With not, obviously, you haven't been doing my job for 10 years, so how would you even know that? It's just knowing that through what you're experiencing, which I think is 100% true. So if you had to leave, the audience, and I want you to speak to them when you do this. But if you had to leave the audience with, Kevin was on the show. We talked about his book. We talked about him nearly murdering his brother. What would you want to leave with them?
I think for anyone watching, as you navigate life personally and professionally, you are so much more than any label that you carry, even any business title, any professional title. Your lived experience matters. The pivots, the nonlinear twists and turns of life matter. They inform your story. And your story can serve as a mirror to help shape the world to be a better version of itself. And so I would just implore everyone to be proud of what you've done, even the failures. It's all valuable learning, and that's your story. But to always be curious, move through life with an open aperture, and embrace the nonlinearities, embrace the nuances that make life great, and really lean into those things, because that's where the beauty of substance comes from, that can inform what's possible for our future.
Wow. I gotta rewrite less than 1%. That was amazing. No, Kevin, thank you so much for being on. Thank you. Thank you for being a less than 1%er. And
thank you.
You know, I'm going to sign a book, and if you could sign my book, that would be
you got it,
amazing.
Man. You got it.
All right, appreciate you. Thank
you. Thank you for having me.
All right.